Welcome, people of Earth. Welcome to episode number 2 of the Piscopod. Thanks for joining us. I'd like to start out just by expressing my gratitude for all the people that have been reaching out to me since episode 1. And a lot of encouragement, a lot of positive feedback and stuff. I really do appreciate it. Again, I still don't know what I'm doing. I just find myself that I need to talk about stuff. There's stuff going on in the world that is just, it makes you shake your head every single day. And it seems to be coming faster, fast and furious, as they say. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining me. I do appreciate it. I've been out in the sticks with the dogs and the wife and getting away from all this negative news. It's insanity. I don't even know where to begin. There's so much stuff going on. I'll be honest with you. I had this episode kind of in the can. I'm usually doing my recording and my taping on Friday, sometimes Saturday, and then I do a bit of editing and stuff like that, and pump it out on Sunday. I'm a one-man show. What can I say? And I'm not that familiar with the technology involved in this yet, but I'm learning, and I hope you bear with me. It's going to get better and better. If you do like what you see and stuff like that, there's a subscribe button down below. So please hit that subscribe button. I do appreciate it. Every subscription helps. There's been a lot of playbacks and stuff, so I do appreciate that. A lot of thumbs up. So far everything is good, and I appreciate you guys, and I'm glad that you're tuning in. I'm glad that we got some dialogue. I've had some people reach out to me from actually the LGB community, or LBG. Again, I don't fucking know. Anyway, they reached out to me and they were like, thanks for being honest in how I feel about some of the stuff that's going on. I'm still a firm believer that the extreme fringe of whatever the hell is going on in that movement has hijacked that movement for my brothers and sisters within that community. I always stay with the 3 letters, because the other letters, as far as I'm concerned, and again, it's my opinion, as far as I'm concerned, it hasn't helped the movement, for lack of a better word. Anyway, we're still in Pride Month, so that's still going on. And let your freak flags fly, folks, and stay away from the kids. That's all I can say. Stay away from the kids. Everything's cool. You want to wear a dress? Have at her, buddy. But I don't understand why my little nieces and nephews and such have to learn about, sometimes Billy has 2 dads, Sometimes he has a mom and a dad, but they're not learning about that. Anyway, again, those are my thoughts, so don't send me hate mail. I don't read it. I don't care. There's so much more going on in the world. Where do you start? I got an idea. Why don't we start with World War III? That is some crazy shit going on. Iran, Israel, they are lobbing rockets at one another, left, right, and center. The old bed shitters that have been chomping at the bit in order to go to war with Iran, well, they're finally getting their way. And so that's going on. Not good. Is it fulfilling prophecy? Again, are you of faith? You have to look at this from all different aspects. It's crazy. It's crazy what's going on. They're lobbing rockets at one another. Trump has already had a statement saying that, there might be a possibility that America goes into war with Iran, or lends a hand, or however he put it. Scary times, folks. I'm not a brushed up on the geopolitical landscape and stuff like that. But Israel, they launched a pretty significant and targeted attack on Iran, decimated their nuclear facilities, at the same time took out the scientists that are working on the nuclear stuff. So that's going to set them back significantly. And to put some icing on the cake, they took out a couple of generals that might make some critical decisions in times of war. Took them out too at the same time, just for shits and giggles. But that still, for me, begs the question that in this entire conflict that they've been having in the Gaza Strip with the Palestinians, Israel is pretty notorious for some pretty amazing operations. You know, I go back, I mentioned it in my first episode, the whole detonating cell phone thing. That's pretty impressive to give all these guys, hey, look, free telephones. And yeah, they're dialing you up. You know, you're thinking you're ordering a pizza, and next thing you know, it's stars and stripes kind of thing. Pretty impressive. Targeted. This last operation on Iran, pretty impressive. Targeted. So again, it begs the question that all this time that they've been in the Gaza Strip, where they're bombing women and children, and if that doesn't work, they're cutting off humanitarian aid, so they're starving the people. For an entity that seems to be as sophisticated in operational measures as Israel, you know, you can't help but wonder, are they really starving these people on purpose and stuff? Is this a genocide? Kind of under smoke and mirrors of, yeah, we're retaliating? Again, you know, just my opinion. I don't need the hate mail. I'm not an anti-Semite by any stretch of the imagination. And I'm not really against the Palestinians, with the exception of the extremists with their terrorist garbage and harming people like that. But yeah, so that's going on. Ukraine and Russia, they're amping things up. Turmoil everywhere. It's riot season in the United States, and reigning champion, the City of Angels, Los Angeles, California, they have stepped up in epic fashion to show the world how clearly unhinged some of them are. Lighting cars on fire, looting stores, general lawlessness, flying foreign flags on American soil about how proud they are of whatever flag they're flying, yet the thought of getting shipped back to that country you love so much is just foreign to them. The leaders in California, you know, you just have to shake your head. What is going on with them? Gavin Newsom, Timu Fabio, I call him. He's on every television show, on every news broadcast, and smiling about, talking about the peaceful protests. And I'm thinking, what are you watching, man? Because I'm clearly getting a different feed from LA than what you're seeing, because I'm seeing thugs in masks and, you know, flying foreign flags, lobbing bricks and rocks and stuff at cop cars from overpasses, and as they're driving by, lighting cars on fire. You know, they're even looting a Nike store, for God's sake, because nothing says, stand up to the man like a fresh pair of Air Jordans on your tootsies. So yeah, the world is going fucking crazy. Man, like it's hard to wrap your head around. You know, Gavin Newsom, while his jewel crown of California, right, the City of Angels, Los Angeles, while that is burning for the second time in 6 months, While that place is burning and anarchy is in the streets, instead of rolling up his sleeves and getting the job done and restoring some semblance of order or whatever, no, he is filing lawsuits in federal court to reverse the ban on men and women's sports. Because that's more important, It doesn't matter that there's people trying to kill your police. Doesn't matter that they're lighting shit on fire. What's really important here is the fact that Brian wants to play girls' junior hockey next year, so we better get our poop in the group with that one. Crazy times, folks. You got the environmentalists. Our favorite grumpy climate troll, Greta Thunberg, decided to organize a flotilla to save Gaza. Brave girl that she is. Anyway, as one could anticipate, and I'm probably sure that her and her handlers anticipated this as well, but they got intercepted, lo and behold. And then she was all over legacy media on every news channel in the world about talking about how she's been kidnapped. And let's face it, this is the first time in human history where somebody's been kidnapped and their captors, their only demand was, can you please get this chick the fuck out of here? So, yeah, Greta Thunberg was chucked on a carbon-spewing, jet fuel-sucking 747 and flown back in the cheap seats all the way back to the rock that she slithered out from under to plan her next zany adventure. We got good old Bill Gates. He's on the, for lack of a better word, campaign trail, trying to smooth the waters over with the whole Epstein debacle and, his frequent flyer miles on Epstein Island and his, in my opinion, allegedly his divorce as a result of that. But that's here nor there. Just pay no attention. Anyway, he's on the campaign trail talking about all the wonderful things that he's going to be doing for humanity, seeing that he's one of the largest private landowners in the continental United States. This guy has hundreds of thousands, if not millions of acres of United States prime land. And, well, that's a good thing, right? Because he's an environmentalist. So is he planting trees, you think? Nah, he's not planting trees. He's invested in carbon markets. We don't need trees when you're invested in stuff like that. We want to do things like mine for electric batteries and, pay no attention that that'll just decimate the environment. But that's the way that we want to go. We want battery-powered cars, we want solar-powered homes, and we want surveillance on every corner. But that's not to keep track of you. That's to make sure that the bad guys don't get at you, right? Just remember that. So, yeah, so they're out and about. They're not planting trees. They're just having a gay old time and, planning on how else they're going to control us. AI supercomputers, they're trying to implement those like they do in China and the United Kingdom, where every street corner has like a multitude of cameras that are, looking at who you are and what you're doing, facial recognition, but they'll never use that for nefarious things. They're only there to make sure that the bad guys don't get at you, right? Isn't that what you keep hearing? But every little bit is a little bit more control. 15-minute cities. Well, you can't really float those suckers unless you have surveillance, right? Because how do you know that those things are working unless you're watching people? Don't get me started on digital money. How better to control people? You got an electric car. You got a solar-powered electric home. You got digital money. You got a cell phone where we can track you. And if we don't like what you're saying, we'll just shut you off. Now, people are probably listening to this going, fuck, Sasha, you are a wackadoo. That'll never happen. But then I take you back to the trucker convoy here in Canada, right? For the most part, of course, there's going to be goons in every situation. But for the most part, they were relatively peaceful. You know, they did a lot of honking and stuff like that. They had bouncy castles up, terrorist kind of shit. But for the most part, they were peaceful. But our wonderful leader in charge, Justin Trudeau, our liberal government, for lack of a better word, they decided, nah, these people are a threat. They're terrorists. So they cut people's bank accounts off. You couldn't buy groceries for your children because they didn't like the fact that you were on Parliament Hill in your F-150 talking about being tired of getting fucked by the government. That's how quickly things change in good old freedom-loving Canada, right? Don't even get me started on the shit show that's going on here. Mark Carney. Montgomery Burns Carney. He's still, piloting the Titanic into the iceberg. He's just in my backyard, more or less, at the G7. Still pretending that he cares about the country that he hasn't lived in 10 years. While he crushes our energy sector. Because, we don't want Canada to sell the oil because I got investments in oil companies outside of Canada, and what better way to make money than to sell all that stuff from my outside companies back into Canada? Great way to make profit. What a scheme. If anybody else did it, they'd be in prison. Housing. We can go into the housing market that Carney's got on the books that he's trying to implement. Coincidentally, Brookfield Investments, what do? They make cheap housing. So not surprising that he's all over the news about how he wants to get the government back into building houses for citizens. Only problem is, for the brilliant economist that he is, he's not very good with numbers. He anticipated by 2030 that Canada will be building 262,000 homes per year. Sounds impressive. Until you do some number checking, and that's 10,000 homes less than we built without the government in 1976, folks. And it doesn't take into account that he imports well over 1 million people every year from his failing immigration policy. As I said in last week's episode, the Liberal Party, they haven't changed. They just changed the head of the snake, man. And it still boggles my mind that after 10 years of getting bent over, that there was still people that voted for this party. But as reports are unfolding, there seems to be some shenanigans in that area of the election as well. Now, again, is it a conspiracy theory? I don't know. I don't know just quite yet, but I will keep you updated. What else is happening in Canada? Well, we have fella Mark Keenan, BC fella, pedophile, has a whole collection, for lack of a better word, I guess, of child pornography. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say this shit on YouTube, or they're going to throw me in some archived algorithm or whatever that never sees the light of day. But I got to tell it like it is, man. So this dude from BC, he was caught with pictures of underage children and was caught, went to court, and the judge ruled in his favor. If you can believe it. Ruled in his favor, folks. Because you know why? Because Judge Andrew Tam, that's the justice in BC, in case you want to write him a letter. He thought that Keenan's image collection was rather modest in comparison. This is literally on the books. That's what he said. It was rather modest in hindsight. Uh, yeah. What do you say to that, folks? Like, what do you say to that? My fellow Canadians, what are we doing? This is like seriously WTF, man. Exclamation marks, all caps. WTF. What's next? Are we really going down that road of what people have been floating a while back with the what is it, like minorly attracted or something like that? Is that where we're going next? Right? Like we're doing the whole, if you're a guy and you think you're a woman, that you can go into the girls' dressing room and you can run around there naked, fully intact. Society has to kowtow to you. We can't object without being canceled or coming off as like transphobic or whatever the word du jour is. But that's what we got going in BC. We got child pedophiles that are caught red-handed and they're spared jail time because, well, your collection is just relatively modest. You know how it is in way of collections, right? You can't make this stuff up, folks. You just cannot make this stuff up. What else can I tell you? Entertainment. Goodness gracious. Brian Wilson, beloved genius behind the Beach Boys fame, died at 82 years old. Man, all my heroes are dying. I was never like the hugest Beach Boy fan, but, as I got older and developed more as a songwriter, you couldn't help but admire his genius. Pet Sounds, my God, revolutionary stuff in the age of the Beatles. Like, everybody thought the Beatles was like, wow, and don't get me wrong, they were, but then here comes Brian Wilson and the Beach Boys, and they totally take music in a completely different direction and in a crazy direction for its time, right? Like his songwriting and his experimentation with sound and production, it's legendary. For my musician friends, you know what I'm talking about. For the layman's, you just like the Beach Boys. They were catchy tunes, toe tappers. You know every word. You can listen to 4 notes when it comes on the radio, and you know exactly, oh, that's California Girls, or that's Good Vibrations, or whatever, right? So, a sad 82 years old. He had a good run, don't get me wrong, but it's still sad when you watch your heroes die. I kind of, can appreciate how my parents must have felt as their, artists of their day, more or less, came of age, and as we all eventually become dust. So that's going on. But don't worry, we still got music going. What are your kids listening to? Send me some comments. I'd like to know. I'm interested in new music. Here's an artist that I kind of tripped across. Kim Petras. Anybody heard of her? Him, her? Don't know what pronouns they're using. But it's a German... it's an LA-based German singer. Kim, born a boy, don't know the name, but with the approval and blessing of their parents, decided to transition. Don't know if it's a full transition or not, but very ahead of his time, and, the old buzzwords that they're going to say, collaborated with Sam Smith. Everybody knows Sam Smith. Went from gay to non-binary to gaining 400 pounds and dressing in ladies' corsets and prancing around the stage in high heels, singing devil music. And look at who's saying this to you. Devil music. This is me, man. I had the parents, that thought that when I was listening to like Bon Jovi and Ozzy Osbourne, it's devil's music. And maybe they were right for the time. Maybe to them this was devil's music. But when you look back, it's pretty benign compared to the stuff that we're exposing our kids to nowadays. Again, Kim Petras was once a boy, is now a girl. Not an unattractive girl, but still has that boyish, you know what I mean? Can't put your finger on it, but it's like, yeah, could be, could not be, yeah. Kind of still looks like a boy, even though you got like double D's now. But collaborated with Sam Smith, won some awards for a song called Unholy. I mean, you can't make this shit up, man. You know, I'm not a religious person. You know, hard copy of King James been keeping dust off my nightstand. That's the extent of it. I want to credit Jelly Roll for what a killer line that is, man. Anyway, but again, I'm not really a person of faith per se. I believe that there's something, an energy, a spirituality. Some people call it God, whatever. But something is afoot here because I'm looking at the music industry that I grew up in and so love, and I see this kind of stuff that's coming down the pike. And I'm pretty liberal. I'm a middle of the road guy. I've never, you better put a warning label on it because it's explicit lyrics. I'm not that guy. I'm really not. But again, if your children, look through their playlist. If they got Kim Petras on their playlist, you might want to listen to what they're, you might want to put your ear holes on what your kids are listening to. Because let me give you a bit of an example. Going back to the, I had to take notes in this because I didn't want to ruin the entire gist of the song, and I didn't, want to speak out of turn. But, so yeah, Kim Petras won some awards for Unholy. It was, I believe it was on either the Grammy Awards or the American Music Awards, and it created a huge brouhaha because everybody was like, oh my God, that's like one of the most satanic things I've ever seen on on late night TV. It wasn't even late night TV, on prime TV, I guess it would have been. So this former boy, who's now a girl, is a hit maker, very popular amongst the young ones. Actually canceled her tour recently, all the dates on their tour, and all I can say is I hope it wasn't for testicular cancer. But anyway, that's here nor there. So if Kim Petras is on your children's playlist, let me give you some lyrics of one of her big hits. This one you might know from the Church Social. This one's called Treat Me Like a Slut. Yeah. I mean, I don't even know what to say. Like, this is what our children are listening to. This is what the corporation music businesses are putting their seal of approval on, for lack of a better word, because, some music is independently released, but artists like her, they're not independent, man. When you have Sam Smith that wants to collaborate with you, there's like an entity behind it, a publishing group or a record company or both, or a management company or whatever the case is, right? So there's people that are like, yeah, man, this is what we want to put on the airwaves, man. This is the next best thing. So here's a little toe tapper for you from Kim Petras. It's called Treat Me Like a Slut. Here's the lyrics. Ride it, slide it, get inside it. Come on, touch my body. I know you like it. You can't hide it. Come on, touch my body. Harder, faster, longer, thicker. Come on, touch my body. I can see you get excited. Come on, touch my body. Now, it gets better, folks, because, any of my musician friends, that unless the song has a hook, it ain't ever going to get anywhere. So here's the hook. Treat me like a slut, little dirty bitch, I love to fuck. Treat me like a slut, little dirty bitch, I love to fuck. And I mean, I don't even want to get into the second verse because it's no better. This is popular music nowadays. Now, back when Brian Wilson was writing his devil music, here's a little excerpt from his devil music back in those days. I love the colorful clothes she wears and the way the sunlight plays upon her hair. I hear the sound of a gentle word on the wind that lifts her perfume through the air. I'm picking up good vibrations. So, folks, in the big scheme of things, this is where music has gone. And whether you believe in God, whether you believe in some other divine entity, you have to look around and think that something weird is afoot. War everywhere, riots in the streets, rampant crime, homelessness, financial systems collapsing. All the while, the leaders of all these places are giving you the thumbs up. Nothing's going on. Nothing to see here, folks. Like I said, I got the G7 going on almost in my backyard for the past almost a week now. It goes until the 18th, my birthday, in case you want to send some presents my way. But yeah, they're going on. We got the helicopters and the army jets flying over every half hour, sometimes at night, actually even more. At night it's kind of disconcerting with the choppers flying over and stuff like that, because you normally, like normally you hear like the airplanes and stuff flying over occasionally. Now, so with the G7 in the backyard, they're flying over more often. But now, you get the jets and the helicopters. They're like doing low-level passovers, looking for security threats and stuff. And, when you look around what's going on in the world, it's not hard to imagine why that those guys don't need protection. Like, I mean, seriously. I just went out and bought groceries. 2 bags. 2 paper bags. Not even like those fiber heavy things that you can, throw half a cow in and the handles won't break. Just 2 regular paper bags. $131, right? Welcome to my Canada. I mean, welcome to the world. I don't want to say just Canada. I don't know where you live, but from all the reports that I'm getting, it's pretty much the same everywhere we go. The price of things is skyrocketing. Nobody feels safe anymore. The place that I live, there's certain parts of the city that, that once upon a time were like maybe shady. That's where everybody went to get the good drugs. But, now it's like that's where you're headed if you want to get shanked. And we're just importing more people. I have nothing against immigration. I have nothing against immigrants. I'm an immigrant. My family are immigrants. But we didn't get freebies. I don't ever recall being made aware of a program where I could, not me because I was a youngster, but I don't ever remember my parents being offered a program where they could get, $800 per kid or whatever per month. And plus like a housing allowance or a car allowance or low rate interest loans. And, we just came here and rolled up our sleeves and got to work and built ourselves a better life. That's how it was done. Things are changing. Things are changing. It's not how it's done anymore. Everybody plays the victim card. The powers that be, they try to divide us. They know that they'll never conquer if we stand united. So they divide us with immigration, with gender ideology, with race. And it's sad. We are watching in real time the things that even 15, 20 years ago, if somebody would have told us, hey, in 20 years, this is what's going to be happening, we'd be like, yeah, cut the dosage, Grandma. Watch Wheel of Fortune. You're going like wackadoo here on me. But now we're living it. The government freezing your bank account. No due process. Just because I don't like that you're mean to me. Guess you can't get money. Your wife and children have nothing to do with the fact that you think that I'm an asshole, but we're going to cut everybody off because that's how we are in a free country and all. The more I look into things, the more I feel that choice and things that come with democracy and freedom are just a delusion. And again, I could go back to all sorts of things. Air India, 244 poor souls lost their lives. Their jet went up 600 feet, came crashing down into a plethora of buildings. Weird thing I noticed, though, is every single one of those buildings was standing, burned out, severely damaged, but every one of those buildings was still standing. So I ask you, are they building shit in India that they aren't building in New York when they're building the world's tallest skyscrapers or two of the world's tallest skyscrapers? All these years I've been led to believe that when a airliner flies into a steel-structured building and causes relatively minor damage, that the buildings, they collapse upon themselves in their own footprint, kind of like a controlled demolition. And if the wind is blowing the right way, a third building comes down. Was never even touched by an airplane. But we've all been led to believe that that's what happened. It's never happened before that day. It's never happened since that day. And I mean, Air India is another indication of, at least you want to look at things a little closer and think about that, because this thing was fully fueled, literally went up, went down, and kaboom, killed everybody on board except the one guy with the ripped t-shirt and a few cuts, who's going to be telling the world about everything that happened. But went into all these buildings, destroyed the plane, wiped out everybody on board, burnt the buildings out, killed a few people on the ground, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, all the buildings were standing. But if you question the narrative between 9/11, you're a conspiracy theorist. You know what I mean? The bankers, like I said, they are getting their way. It looks to me like we're going to war with Iran. All indications are showing that we're going to war with Iran. So, again, I kind of patched this thing together at the last minute because stuff is unfolding quicker than I can lay it down onto video. So, folks, keep your eyes open, stay vigilant, stand up for what you believe in. These are my thoughts, not yours. You may not agree with them. Send me an email. I'd love to talk to you. I may be completely off kilter on some of the positions that I'm taking, and I'm always open to dialogue. Again, that's why I've gotten into this, just to open up some dialogue and get people talking without wanting to harm each other. So, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all your support. I do appreciate it. I'm going to throw another episode together for next Sunday. So we're going to see what this week has to offer in Crazy Town. But anyway, guys, thank you so much. I do appreciate all the support. And we will talk to you next week. Take care of each other. See ya!